With 8 starts against the Nationals with an ERA of 6.53.
Justin Maxwell will lead things off. You know that last week's Millage was the opening day center fielder for Washington, sent to the minor leagues, and Elijah Dukes has been filling in for him, but he muffed that ball in center field with the sunglasses on top of his cap yesterday, and so it's Maxwell who gets the start today. Maxwell began the year in AAA Syracuse, where he was in just .235 before being called up. And he takes a strike from Ollie, and it's 1-1. We saw a little bit of Maxwell 2 years ago. Last year, he spent most of the year hurt with a broken wrist and didn't play in the big leagues at all, as that wide open stance. And Ollie misses with a fastball, and it's 2-1. Ronnie Belliard on deck, and then Ryan Zimmerman in the opening inning. And on 2-1, Maxwell takes high, and it's 3-1. Ollie worked through 4 innings pretty much unscathed against the Cardinals in his last start, but then imploded in the 5th and couldn't get through the inning. In fact, issued a bases loaded walk to the last man he faced. That cut the lead to 4-3, and then Casey Fossum came out of the bullpen, walked the next hitter to force in the tying run. So what had been a 4-0 Met lead eventually turned into a loss. 3-2 to Maxwell, and he misses ball 4, and so Perez walks the first man to face him. 13 walks in 15 innings for Oliver Perez.
And the look at the Mets defense brought to you by your ChevyOffers.com. I drive a Chevy. Beltran, of course, the Gold Glover in center field. David Wright over there in that corner too. Both two-time Gold Glovers as Mets. And Omir Santos back-to-back starts, and the 2 left-handers in the corner outfield positions back in the lineup.
Interesting message being sent there by Jerry Manuel. Castro on the bench for the 2nd straight day. Here's Ronnie Belliard, and he takes a fastball for a strike. Brian Schneider's on the disabled list, and the Mets should have him back shortly. He's trying to come back from not only the back problem that put him on the DL, but his calf has been bothering him as well. So Santos getting the opportunity. Line to left field. In comes Murphy. He'll have to play it on a hop, and it's a base hit for Belliard. Maxwell stopping at second, and so the Nationals have the first 2 men on.
Boy, Belliard, whenever he plays against the Mets, he just seems to get base hits. And wisely there, young Daniel, realizing he can't make the catch, doesn't let it get by him.
Go for a ball yesterday that went by him for a 3-base hit. So the Nationals have the first 2 men on, and now Ryan Zimmerman, who's riding a 14-game hitting streak. So Perez in immediate first inning trouble. And Zimmerman pops it up. First pitch. Castillo out. Church coming on, and Church will make the call for the first out of the game.
Zimmerman feeling good at the plate. Opts to try to get a fastball first pitch, and he did, and he just missed it.
So 1 away. Now Adam Dunn will step in. Dunn off to a good start in his first year as a Nat, hitting a .302, .479 on base percentage, is 2nd behind Carlos Beltran in the National League.
Had 25 at bats off of Ollie in his career, 6 hits, 3 of them home runs.
And those 3 home runs for Dunn against Perez matched the most for any left-hand hitter against Ollie. Hideki Matsui also has hit 3 home runs off Perez in his career. But, you know, Dunn's a big guy who hits 40 a year and can hit him off anybody. And a slider in for a strike, 0-1.
So this has been the MO of the Senators. Geez, the Nationals.
See, I called them the Generals before. But that was more a pejorative, if you know what I mean.
They get men on base and can't get them in.
Dunn swings over the slider, and it's 0-2. Well, the Nats as a team are hitting just .229 with runners in scoring position.
Nope. 2 pretty good sliders right there. Ollie very tough on left-handers.
And that's really been the knock on Dunn throughout his career, that he's a guy who walks a lot, hits a lot of home runs, but does not really drive in as many runs as he should. Look at Josh Willingham on deck. Ollie ahead 0-2. And he goes to a third straight slider to strike out Dunn. 2 away.
Well, that was quick work. 3 sliders. Go sit down. And he expanded the strike zone there. Threw him 1 0-2 off the strike zone. Off the plate, I should say. The fish were biting.
Speaking of fish, the former Marlin, Josh Willingham, will step in. Willingham 0 for 4 yesterday. He has really struggled in the early going, getting inconsistent playing time in the crowded Nationals outfield. Willingham has 3 career home runs against Oliver Perez. He takes a fastball for a strike. Maxwell and Belliard, the base runners, with 2 out. And another fastball for a strike. So 3 straight sliders to strike out Dunn. Now a couple of fastballs to get ahead of Willingham. 0-2.
One thing I've noticed this year on Ollie, where he pounds right-handers inside, he has not been able, Gary, to consistently throw that inside strike to right-handers. That pitch was supposed to be in, and he missed on the opposite side of the plate. I've seen a lot of that so far early in the season.
Now ahead 0-2. Breaking ball fouled off.
Good cut right there by Willingham. Tried the back door. No, he wanted the slider in. Oh boy, too much plate. Good cut. How about the Marlins, the game they lost last night?
Wow. Marlins lost 5 in a row now after falling in the 10th to the Phillies. Up and away to Willingham 1-2.
It's hard to sustain that kind of anybody to sustain 11-1 start. Downright impossible, but with their bullpen, I mean, it's going to be tough for them. They've come back down to earth.
And they're pitching a rookie today, Graham Taylor, against the Phillies, first major league start, and the Phillies have a 4-0 lead early in that game. 1-2 the count to Willingham with 2 out and 2 on. And he fouls one off the fists out of play.
There's a good inside fastball right there. Willingham just fought it off. This is an emergency swing. Right to the glove. Good pitch. Just kind of inside outs just to get a piece and stay in the at bat.
Another full house at Citi Field. One-two to Willingham. Missed away. 2-2. Change. Nice to see pinstripes on a Sunday afternoon.
It's nice to see everybody, the coaches, not in jackets anymore. Short sleeves.
It's a taste of summertime. 7th pitch of the at bat to Willingham coming up. And he misses away. Full count. So after getting ahead 2 strikes, Perez has run the count full against Willingham, a dangerous batter. So now the runners will be on their way. Maxwell at second and Belliard at first with 3-2 and 2 down, with Austin Kearns on deck.
Here's a kid hopeful. He's got to have your glove on, Slugger.
He's thinking about his first at bat. 3-2. In there for a call, strike 3. Painted the inside corner with the fastball. So Perez bounces back with back-to-back strikeouts. Well, we've been watching David Wright excel with the glove early in this series. He and the rest of the Mets look to get going with the bats when they come up in the bottom of the first against the rookie Zimmerman. to you by your local Hyundai dealers. Carlos Beltran, rip-roaring hot right now, hitting over 600 over the last 6 games. He leads the National League in batting. Luis Castillo is second. Mets as a team are hitting .287, third in the league, and today they go up against 22-year-old Jordan Zimmermann in his second big league start.
Well, he had a successful start his first outing. He beat the Atlanta Braves. Threw a 6-inning ball game, gave up 2 hits.
Jose Reyes leads off and takes a fastball letter high for a strike. Reyes running an 11-game hitting streak right now. Just 2 for 9 in this series, though. And he takes the fastball away, and as you can see from the radar gun, Zimmermann can get it up there, 93, 95. So he's got a good curveball. Goes low and in with the slider, and it's 2-1.
You see that breaking ball right there? That's pretty special.
And he throws 2 different breaking balls. He's been working on the changeup. He's just 22, but he's considered the Nationals' #1 hope.
Wearing the high socks, but no stirrups. I missed the stirrups.
Well, see Jamie Moyer next weekend. He'll be wearing stirrups. 3-1, and Reyes takes a fastball for a strike. Zimmerman's first outing was against the Braves. He walked only 1 in 6 innings, allowed 2 runs, 6 hits. He's out of Division III Wisconsin Stevens Point. And Reyes flares one, foul. Zimmermann, a second-round draft pick by the Nationals 2 years ago. Last year, then, his first full season in professional baseball. He was the draft pick that the Nationals got when they let Alfonso Soriano leave as a free agent. And it's inside and low, ball 4, and Reyes is on with a leadoff walk. Nice job by Reyes to work out that walk.
And a look at the defense, brought to you by ChevyOffers.com. You see 18 errors. We're talking about this ball club. We've seen the first 2 games why there's 18 errors. They have played really poorly in the field, particularly in the outfield. Austin Kearns is back in the lineup today. Josh Willingham, the whole new outfield, actually. Maxwell in center, Willingham in left, and Kearns in right.
So here's Daniel Murphy with Reyes aboard, and Zimmermann misses high. By the way, just so there's no misunderstanding, Jordan Zimmermann is no relation to Ryan Zimmerman. In fact, if you look closely, they spell their names differently, right, Keith?
Yes, 2 N's at the end.
Grounded foul, 1-1.
Instead of 1 N. And that's the German spelling.
And neither one of them is related to Bob Dylan.
Well, not everybody. Well, Dylan was from, he's from Minnesota. That's right.
Robbie Zimmerman. Right?
There you go, right there, the 2 N's.
You're very observant.
Yes. Surprised myself when I caught it this morning.
MANN, like Thomas Mann.
It's amazing what that double soy vanilla latte will do.
Woke you right up, huh? There's the red hot Beltran on deck. Mets have been making a habit of scoring early in games lately. Reyes takes off. Murphy takes outside and no throw. Big jump for Reyes. Flores knew he didn't have a chance, and Reyes has his 4th of the year.
Well, it's not that great a jump. I think he's got to throw, at least get an attempt to throw him out. Ball's a good pitch up for him to throw, and I just don't know what he was thinking.
So Reyes at second with nobody out. 2-1 the count to Murphy. He'll try and get him over. Up and in, and so Zimmermann, who generally has pretty good control, walked the leadoff hitter, now behind Murphy 3-1.
Probably a little edgy. He pitched in front of the smallest crowd in the new ballpark up in Washington since they moved over from Montreal.
3-1 to Murphy, and it's in at the knees for a strike, 3-2.
And I don't care who you are, you're always a little bit nervous when you come to New York and play the first time in New York.
Bright lights,
yep.
Big city.
Absolutely. Big crowd.
By the way, you know what Daniel Murphy is hitting with 2 strikes this year? .433. .433 with 2 strikes. Bounces that one foul.
Boy, that ball was a foot inside. This kid throws hard. That's a little cutter right there.
Murphy fortunate to get a piece of that.
See the defense right there. Pretty much straight up all the way around. A little shade in center field to the opposite field, of course. Gapped in right.
Slow ground ball. In comes Ryan Zimmerman. Checks Reyes. Throws. Reyes takes off, and no throw by Dunn as Reyes takes the extra base, and now he's on third with one out.
Well, good base running by Jose. And Zimmerman's in a rock and a hard spot here. He has to charge this ball to get the lead runner. Reyes might have been a little bit off the bag too much, but Zimmerman just didn't want to take a chance. So heads up by Jose.
So Reyes takes second with the steal, takes third on the ground out, and now in a position to score with the red-hot Beltran coming up. Carlos has an 8-game hitting streak going, but in the last 6 games, he's been on base with a hit, walk-hit batsman at least 3 times in each of the last 6 games. That's the first time in the Mets' 48-year history that a player's done that. On base 3 times or more in 6 straight games. That's how hot he is.
Well, you certainly want a guy that's doing that, hitting in your third position in the order.
And with Delgado struggling on deck, we'll see what Beltran gets to hit here.
You got to pitch to him early. I just disagree with pitching around him.
Throwing a slider, and it's 2-0.
So we'll take a look at Jose's lead here and see if he got off a little bit too far. Zimmerman had a chance at him. Nope. I think Jose was in a good position right there. Good base running. You know, Gary, you talked about how they'll pitch to Beltran. And it always drives me nuts when you're early in the ball game and you got Delgado. You make one swing and it's a 3. If you pitch around Beltran, Delgado one swing, it's 3-0.
2-1 to Carlos. He breaks his bat, flares one towards Zimmerman, who has to come in to grab it. He's got Reyes in the rundown. Flores will run him back toward third. Reyes can't avoid the tag, and he is out to end the inning. Well, Reyes was trying to follow Zimmerman down the line, but that didn't work. And I'm sorry, that's the second out. My apologies. Second out as Reyes is thrown out in the rundown.
Well, I thought Zim ran Reyes. You never want to run the guy to the advancing base. And he runs him. Now, Flores here can close the gap. Come closer to Zim and close down the distance between the runner and himself. And then it should be one throw, boom, you tag him. But Jose was able to stay in that rundown long enough to get Beltran to second base.
So Beltran in scoring position with 2 out, and now Delgado hitless in his last 8 at bats and just 3 for his last 26. Takes a curveball for a strike. I asked Jerry Manuel whether he considered giving Delgado a day off today, maybe get Tatis some at bats. He said he didn't think about it today, but he'll probably sit Delgado on Wednesday, the next time the Mets have a day game after a night game. Pickoff try, and Beltran just got the hand back ahead of the tag by Gonzalez.
You know, Garrett, getting back to the point with Delgado now, even though Delgado's struggling, you still got to pitch him very carefully. He's such a dangerous hitter. You know, and if you fall behind Delgado with Wright struggling in the on-deck circle, even though David's hitting close to, was he hitting 300, David? I didn't check.
Yeah, he's hitting just under 300.
But he's been struggling. This kid throws hard. Pinstripes do look nice. Garrett, good call.
Blue and pinstripes on a summer type day. 1-1, and Delgado fouls with that. 95 on that fastball. It's 1-2.
Well, Carlos had the great spring training, great WBC, and he got off to a really quick start the first week of the season, but it's been a little bit of a downturn right now. Can't stay hot forever.
Fouled away.
Well, he's just overpowering these left-hand hitters. He got into Murphy's kitchen. He got knee deep into Beltran's kitchen, and they're just about sawed off Delgado. he's throwing hard.
It's interesting because that slider is a pitch that at one point the Nationals took away from him. But that's a nasty pitch. 1-2. Fouled away.
He's got a nice curve.
Yep. It's a hard curve to go with a hard slider.
You're up there hitting to get to your attention, guys like this. That had a lot of plate. Got away with one there.
Jordan Zimmerman, just 22 years old. From Auburndale, Wisconsin, where he was a tremendous football player, wide receiver.
I think he picked the right sport with that arm.
Looks like it might work out for him. 1-2. Curve ball. Did he go? They check at third. No swing.
Boy, oh boy, I tell you, Carlos didn't swing, but if that's a strike, he's struck out. He was tied up with that backdoor curve. This kid is impressive. Way out in front.
Zimmerman about to throw his 25th pitch of the inning. With Beltran at second and 2 out. Delgado hits one in the air to deep right center field. Going back, Maxwell and Kearns, and Maxwell can't make the diving catch. In to score comes Beltran. Delgado turns second. He's going to try for third. The relay by Belliard, not in time. A 3-base hit for Carlos Delgado. And the Mets take a 1-0 lead. Maxwell made the diving attempt, but has been the case all through this series. Nationals outfielders coming up empty.
Well, it's a tough play here. He ran a long way for the ball. Got his glove on it, but it's just been one of those things. And there's Delgado busting from the get-go. Thought it was caught, let up a little bit, then turned it back on. But defensively, the outfielder's just not getting it done for the Nationals this 3-game series.
David Wright takes a strike for Delgado. That's his 4th triple in 4 years as a Met. The 18th triple of his major league career. He had one last year. David had a good cut, but he fouls it off, and it's 0-2. Wright just 1 for 8 in this series. The strikeout total continues to mount. 20 strikeouts in his first 66 at bats.
Well, the Mets get another break.
0-2 to David, up and in with the fastball. 1-2. So Zimmerman issued the leadoff walk. Looked like he might have sidestepped trouble as Reyes was tagged out in the rundown, but Delgado snapping an 0 for 8 with the triple off Maxwell's glove. Wright fouls off the slider.
Well, Maxwell really loves to play shallow in center field, and boy, Austin Kearns is really shallow in right field. See there, that's playing fairly shallow, and that's why that ball by Delgado, I mean, that ball's got to be caught. If you're playing a little bit deeper, Delgado's a power hitter.
And a breaking ball in there for a call strike 3, so right down looking. Zimmerman has his first strikeout, but the Mets again get a first inning run. Carlos Delgado with the 2-out triple off the glove of the diving Justin Maxwell. And that gives Oliver Perez and the Mets a 1-0 lead as we go to the second. And our Hall of Famer, Ralph Connor. Ralph, how are you?
All right, Gary. And what about Keith there now? He's protecting the first baseman all the time. Why is that?
Well, you know, when we have Ronnie here, he's generally on the side of the pitcher.
I think so. There's a little prejudice up here.
Well, you can just take care of the power hitters as Austin Kearns powers one to left, and Murphy got spun around and screws himself right into the ground. And Austin Kearns pulls into second base with a double.
Ralph, you take this one. You're an old outfielder.
All right, give me the tough ones, huh? Okay, well, I'll tell you one thing about playing the outfield. He was an infielder, and basically that's his position. But playing left field is not as easy as it's supposed to be, and he got twisted up. And one thing about it, when you make that turn, you got to make it the right way. And if you got great ability, you can make it any way you want, but you got to learn the position pretty fast.
We have seen Murphy fall on a number of occasions, Ralph. What causes that to happen?
Well, he's getting twisted up in the way he's turned, and he tries to correct it. And of course, when you get your legs crossed up, you're in bad shape.
I just check his spikes. Were they worn down? Does he need a new pair of spikes? Or are those? I don't know if he has the. I'm sure at this point in the season he'd have a fresh pair of spikes on.
Jesus Flores, the batter, hit a home run against Francisco Rodriguez in the opening game of the series, the former Met farmhand.
You know, Gary, I would try to wear my. I hated to break in your spikes. I was always tough to break in spikes. You always got blisters, and I'd always break in 2 in spring training. And I would use the spike I used the last half of the season for the following year in spring training, then open up with a brand new pair of spikes. But I would try to wear them until I literally wore them out. And usually back in the days on AstroTurf would be my first clue would be I would slip on the AstroTurf, and I knew that my spikes were too worn down.
Well, we had the whole conversation yesterday with Kevin about the metal spikes versus the plastic spikes, and I wonder what Murphy's wearing out there, because you certainly would like your outfielders to wear the metal spikes, wouldn't you?
Well, I'm sure that our Voyeur director Bill Webb will find out before this game is over.
You think he can shoot the bottoms of his feet?
You know, one of the things about baseball, it has really changed, because when I played baseball, you had 2 pair of spikes, and that was all you got for the year. And you had 1 pair called the mutters, and you wore them when it rained, and the other pair you wore on dry days. And now you're talking about when you play, Keith, and you get all the spikes you want. You get 15, 20, 30 pair, whatever you want.
Flores hits one to deep left center field. Murphy can only watch this one. That's out of here. Wow. Flores with his second home run of the series, a 2-run shot. His second of the year gives the Nationals a 2-1 lead.
He hit the first home run. The first was it the first night, Gary?
Yep, against K-Rock.
Same spot. This one went further, right below the Alliance Building Services sign. They threw the ball back.
Well, there was nothing that any spikes Murphy was going to wear was going to do anything about that.
No, this ball is too much plate. See again, trying to come inside and misses right down the pipe. I bet you Ralph would have liked that pitch.
Well, one thing about throwing the ball back, they're copying what they do in Wrigley Field when the opposition hits a home run. They throw the ball back. And if you keep one, you're almost ostracized in the ballpark for the rest of your life.
Second home run that Oliver Perez has given up this season. Now the number 8 hitter, Alberto Gonzalez, will bat. 2-1 Washington. Gonzalez 2 for 8 in this series, filling in at shortstop for the injured Christian Guzman. Gonzalez, the former Yankee, hitting at .243.
Tell you what, those Cub fans, I always love those Cub fans.
Popped up foul, and that'll make it out of play.
And I'm not just, I really mean it. I mean, the Wrigley Field, the fans are so much on top of you. You can almost hear conversations when you're up at the plate. They get on you so hard, but in a good way. And you sometimes the guys, what they would say, just make me laugh.
In a good way?
Pardon me?
I've never heard of a good way when they get on you. I tell you, I played in Chicago. I was a Cub, so I have played there, and they really are good fans. And the one thing I like about the Cub fans, they haven't won a World Series in 100 years. And George Will, the great writer and really big Cub fan, said, well, anybody can have a bad century.
Now they're working on the second one. 1-2 to Gonzalez with nobody out in the inning. A double for Kearns and a 2-run homer for Flores. And this one's hit in the air to left field, over toward the corner. Murphy moving over, and he has enough room to make the grab.
Well, you get a feeling that the Met fans are pulling for young Daniel.
No question.
We made a great play on a diving catch in left field by the foul line in yesterday's ball game.
And then popped up and doubled the runner off first base. Now the pitcher Zimmerman looking for his first big league hit. Jordan Zimmerman is 0 for 1. And Oliver misses outside for ball 1. Well, yesterday Mike Pelfrey went back to the mound after missing a start and gave the Mets a credible 5 2/3 innings. But this one has begun raggedly for Oliver Perez. And I mentioned earlier, you know, Ollie has struggled against the Nationals through his career. He's known for being a big game pitcher, guy who would pitch well against the Phillies and well against the Braves and well against the Yankees, and sometimes struggle against the lesser teams. But the way he's going, he's not in a position to do that. Slider gets the pitcher Zimmerman swinging for the second out. Well, good strikeout for Ollie. Good backdoor slider. Ollie, those teams you just talked about that Ollie pitches well against, all their best hitters are left-handed. They're left-handed, predominantly left-hand hitting lineups. Their big RBI bats are left-handed. If you run a right-handed lineup against Oliver, it's problematic for him. But then again, you know, this is the issue with Ollie. You go back to 2 years ago when he won 15 games. Right-hand hitters had an on-base percentage against Ollie 2 years ago of .322. That's fairly low. As Maxwell hits one up the middle, and he's got a base hit. So Maxwell aboard for the second straight time. It went from .322 against right-hand hitters last year to .365 last year to .408 this year. So he's struggling, it seems, more and more against those right-hand hitters. One thing about Perez is the fact that he is really tough on left-hand batters with that motion he has, and of course his being wild doesn't hurt. I mean, the batters are, if they're left-handed, they're going to be a little bit apprehensive about the fact that he could be wild inside without trying. There's Ronnie Belliard. Maxwell takes off, and Santos has no throw, and Maxwell has his second stolen base. Well, Maxwell, in 3 years in the minor league, stole 67 bases, so he's a speedster. And he's got this base handily. And that didn't matter right there for O'Meara. He had no shot to throw out Maxwell. One strikeout to Belliard. And he swings over the slider, and it's 0-2. One thing about Perez is the fact that he doesn't use the slide step against good base runners. It means he slides that front foot close to the ground and gets the ball to the plate a little bit faster than he would with his normal swing of the left foot. Believe it or not, that's the first stolen base against Ollie in his last 15 starts dating back to last year. 0-2, hit off the end of the bat. Castillo will wait on it, and he throws out Belliard to end the inning. But the Nationals grab the lead as the former Met farmhand Jesus Flores burns the Mets yet again. A 2-run shot off Oliver Perez. Flores' second home run of the year, both in this series. And now the Nats are up 2-1 as we head to the bottom of the second. Ryan Church leads off the home second and takes a strike from Jordan Zimmerman.
How about that? Let him off with a changeup.
He's shown the Mets his entire repertoire. First time through the order. Ooh, the fastball fouled off. And caught the home plate umpire Brian Gorman, 0-2.
One thing about leading off a batter when it comes to the plate with a changeup, you're not changing it up from anything. You haven't thrown a pitch. And wisely, Church took the ball. Which is something you can do when you have a count of 0-0.
Oh, no one's faced this man, so it's a big feeling out process for the Met lineup right now. I mean, you can look at all the video you want. There's no substitute to getting in that box and facing a pitcher.
Ryan Church began the day hitting at .358, 6th in the National League.
You know, baseball is a very strange game. You can't really learn to play baseball correctly if you don't play in the ball games. That
inside and Church is hit. And so the Mets have a leadoff base runner. Let's check out our first run of the game, brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'. Carlos Delgado banking a 3-base hit off the glove of the diving Justin Maxwell. And Delgado has the rare triple. And that's a necessary commodity on a Sunday morning. Dunkin' Donuts coffee.
I am going to get me a cup of next to in between innings.
Omir Santos takes a strike. Iced today, right?
No, I don't like
drink the ice coffee.
Don't like it.
Ronnie and I haven't convinced you yet.
No. Don't. Just let it rest.
Sorry.
They say ice is only good for drinks.
Coffee's a drink.
Cold drinks.
Santos hits at the right center, and Maxwell is there.
I knew there was a reason why I like Ralph so much.
What out? Church back to first. Interesting that Santos is getting the start here today. I was talking to Jerry Manuel today about the Mets catching circumstance. Brian Schneider has struggled in the early going before going on the disabled list, and I said, when he comes back with the way Santos has played so far, is there going to be any kind of open competition? And Jerry said, no, Brian is my catcher, but at the same time, the opportunity will be there for him, but he has to take advantage of that opportunity because Santos has played well. And the throw gets away, and Church will take second base. Dunn slowly after it, and Church will stop at second.
They're probably going to call this an error on the pitcher, but Dunn's got to make this play. You've got to make the play. He's on his heels.
The ball didn't bounce.
No, it didn't bounce at all. He's got to make the play. Error should go against him. But he's a football player. He's used to a bigger ball.
Nick Johnson getting the day off today. Johnson made an error yesterday on the throw. Well, they called the error on the pitcher. You're right, Keith.
I knew they would. I just had a feeling.
And Castillo drives one foul. And, Ralph just said you're always protecting the first baseman, but here you weren't.
See? I rest my case.
Well, maybe I got to him.
I think that was it. You influenced him, Ralph.
That's right.
Oliver Perez on deck. So the tying run at second with one out. 0-1 to Castillo, misses inside. Castillo second in the National League, hitting .380. And over the last 12 games, hitting .450. A lot more authority in his swing.
Looks like the old Luis.
He'll tap her back to the mound. That'll have to freeze Church. And Zimmerman throws out Castillo, 2 away.
Well, I tell you what, Ralph, he is tying up left-handers with that hard fastball in.
Right here, he throws the fastball in tight on that inside corner. Good pitch. And it's kind of pushed back to the pitcher. No swing at all.
That is called getting overmatched.
Overmatched.
So 2 away, and it's left to Oliver Perez, who has the only hit for a Met pitcher this season. And he bunts one. Beautiful bunt, and Ryan Zimmerman will not have a play. Well, with a runner at second and 2 out and a position player off, that's a bad play. But with Ollie up, what the heck keeps the inning going?
Hey, gets Reyes to the plate. Beautiful drag bunt. She looks like Bud Harrelson there.
And there's nothing Ryan Zimmerman could do. Ollie likes it. It's a beautiful bunt. So the Met pitchers are now 2 for 28, and Ollie's got both the hits. So first and third and 2 down, and now Reyes, who walked and stole a base in the first inning, then was tagged out in a rundown between third and home.
Pretty much straight up for Jose.
And Ryan Zimmerman playing behind the bag at third. Maybe he'll try and drop one down.
Kern just loving to play that shallow right field. Jeez, and that's a big right field here at City.
Up and away to Reyes, 1-0. Jordan Zimmerman's been very impressive in the early going, but he's also throwing a lot of pitches early in this game. Church is at third and Perez at first with 2 down. That's down 2-1.
Oh, this umpire squeezing him. Tight strike zone. Brian Gorman.
He generally has had a fairly tight zone. Second generation umpire.
Yeah, Tom Gorman, his father, was a great umpire in the National League. And one of the great storytellers.
Reyes hits it to right, and Kearns is there waiting for it, and so the Mets strand a pair in the second inning. A hit batsman and a bunt single, and 2 left. We go to the third, 2-1 Nats. Take the train to Citi Field as the series with the Marlins begins tomorrow night at 7:10 p.m. Mass transit is the faster, easier, and greener way to Citi Field. Get to the Mets' new world-class home of amazing. Visit Mets.com or call 718-507-TIXX for your tickets now. Ryan Zimmerman leads off the third inning. Nationals leading 2-1. Zimmerman fly to right his first time up.
Now the Mets outfield is playing considerably deeper than the Nationals outfield.
No question, particularly in right. And Murphy's always going to be playing a little bit deeper in left because he's getting used to playing left field, learning on the job. He doesn't go back well on balls as we saw earlier in the game, Ralph.
As for Church in right, I think he's still trying to figure out where to play out there. Popped up by Zimmerman, and David Wright flipping the glasses down. Makes the play one away.
And one thing, Ralph, we found out early too is that center field and right field are horrific sun fields for the outfielders early in the season.
Well, the one thing about day games, you have to learn to play the sun in almost every ballpark. Most ballparks are built, almost 99% are built with the sun field being the right field latter part in the ball game. starts basically over at left field and then moves over towards center and then into right. And one of the toughest left fields I ever played in was in Yankee Stadium in the old ballpark.
By the way, speaking of sun, you saw David Wright flipping down the sunglasses to catch that pop-up. The 0-1 to Adam Dunn and a breaking ball fouled off. Is there a rational reason why players wear anything but flip down sunglasses?
Well, the one thing about the flip down sunglasses is that you can tap the bill of your cap and knock them down, and when you need them, and if you don't need them, you leave it up there and they're underneath the top of your cap. When you go to a full sunglass and wear it for every pitch in every situation, it's not the same. And you have to learn how to work that flip down, and it's really important.
There's Luis right there with the flips.
So my question is there a rational reason why guys wear the wraparounds as opposed to the flip down?
I have no rational reason for that. No.
Just off the corner, and it's 2-2. I mean, Ralph.
Well, I have a reason for wearing these glasses.
Right, you don't have to look for pop-ups in the sun.
Right. I'm wearing these glasses because I need them.
Ralph, you look very Sammy Suave.
Well, I come from Hollywood.
California guy, Broken back grounder out to Castillo. And Dunn is retired in the second out. But in all seriousness, I mean, Keith, you've lived through this era where the wraparounds have become the style of the moment. Can you see a rational reason for wearing those as opposed to the flip downs?
Well, I think it was the advent of the blue blockers. The new glasses are made.
You know how much I love that ad.
Yes. The new glasses are, they've made great advances, and evidently it worked. You see the ball better at the plate as well. I would never want to wear a sunglass up at the plate. I couldn't wait when I broke into the big leagues to wear the knockdown glasses because Willie Mays wore them. I always thought it was cool.
Well, it was cool. Yeah, you better believe it.
They're still cool. And Willingham hit on the foot. Will go down to first base.
Guys, I was talking to some of the outfielders about the sun and what it's like, and Carlos Beltran told me in center for these day games, basically the first inning is when it's a little troublesome. It's the brightness. After that, it's fine. Ryan Church told me from about 2 to 3:30, it's a problem. He said if the trajectory of the ball is a high arc, you're in trouble, and just cross your fingers. He said if you got one out there yet, he's like, knock on wood, no. Left field is totally fine. So really, from about now to 3:30, right field, if it's a high arc, you're in trouble.
Well, we saw in the last homestand Corey Hart in right field lose a ball in the sun for Milwaukee. And then yesterday in that first inning, Elijah Dukes with the trouble he had. Austin Kearns fouls one off.
I always like Casey Stengel of explaining how to play the sun field. He said you put your hand up in front of the top of your eyes and hold it up there forever and catch it with the other hand.
Simple.
That's the view from center field.
Got some great camera. You can see the shadows behind Carlos Beltran going directly back. So that sun is right in his eyes. And as it further sinks to the west, the sun still sinks to the west, right?
Still.
Well, if it doesn't, we've got something to worry about.
Except that this ballpark is configured a little bit turned to the left compared to
counterclockwise. They turned it counterclockwise a little bit.
That's a better explanation.
I think Grantland Rice is the first one to figure that out. He was a great sports writer in the early days of sports.
Before that, they didn't know the sun set in the west?
That's when one of the people in the press box said, does the sun still set in the west? And Grantland Rice said, well, if it doesn't, we're in deep trouble.
2-1 to Austin Kearns, and he takes it outside, and so Ollie falls behind 3-1. Retired the first two hitters in the inning before hitting Willingham on the foot, and now Carlos Delgado going into the mound to try and refocus Ollie. The hand on the shoulder and everything.
That looks like Rick Peterson. Rick would always come out, the former pitching coach, and put his right hand on the shoulders of his pitchers.
I wonder if Ollie's having a flashback.
Of course, Peterson always had that jacket on, no matter how hot it was.
85 today. Here's the 3-1, and Curran's trying to hold up on the fastball away, but now it's 3-2.
Ball 4 right there.
Now at first base, Delgado should be playing off the bat.
You're correct. Willingham will be running with 3-2 and 2 down. And Kearns takes it outside, ball 4. And so the Nationals have 2 men on. Second walk given up by Oliver.
Well, he wanted that call, but I thought it was a little bit outside.
He got him to chase the last fastball away. Figured he'd go for another one, and he didn't.
And there's Ollie missing on the other side of the plate again. We talked about it earlier against the right-hand hitters.
So 2 out and 2 on, and now here's Jesus Flores, who cracked a 2-run homer his first time up, his second of the series, and now comes up with 2 on. Hit hard toward the hole, base hit. Willingham around third, heads home. Murphy relays to Reyes, guns it to the plate. Not in time. Willingham scores on the RBI single by Flores, and it's 3-1 Washington. Well, there's that short relay that we saw on the last homestand that Murphy was instructed to use.
This is premeditated, Ralph. Jerry Manuel said that he hasn't got the arm yet. He still has the arm of an infielder. I don't think Daniel Murphy has that bad an arm. I think he has a strong enough arm to hit David Wright. It should have been his cutoff man.
Well, the only thing good about that, if it throws home, the ball might get away, and he got runners moving on the bases of one more base. But it's a harder way to try and make a play at the plate. It takes too much time.
Well, based on the throw we saw Murphy make after that sliding catch from the left field line to first base yesterday, that would certainly seem to negate the thought that he can't throw. 55 pitches now for Oliver. A run is in. 3-1 Washington. The number 8 hitter Alberto Gonzalez takes ball 1. So after 2 out and nobody on, a hit batsman and a walk setting the stage, and Flores driving in his 3rd run of the day. Go back to Omar Manaya's comment a few weeks ago as this one's punched into right field. That'll fall for a hit. Kearns around third, racing for the plate. Church's throw, the tag by Santos, safe. Kearns gets in, and it's 4-1 Washington. Alberto Gonzalez with an RBI single.
Well, a tough throw, and right on the mark as far as Church is concerned. One hop, but just a little bit late. He did not and was not able, not his fault, to get in good throwing position. The ball took a very close hop to him.
So now the pitcher Jordan Zimmerman, who's been staked to a 3-run lead, he takes ball 1.
Well, I tell you what, it's still, you're right, Ralph. You got kind of caught up there in that in-between hop. It still makes a perfect throw home. But what a strong arm Church has.
Going back to what Omar Minaya said a few weeks ago, that his biggest mistake as Mets general manager was letting Jesus Flores go. Mets have really paid for that in this series. Right back to Perez, and Oliver finally, with a little bit of a wide throw, gets himself through the inning. After 2 out and nobody on, the Nats score 2 and now lead 4-1.
And I'm just kind of curious watching that last play unfold when the ball went to left and Murphy hit Reyes at a close range and then Reyes threw it home. And certainly that is what they practice, but it seems as if Murphy's arm is kind of getting past that point. You referenced his great throw yesterday for the double play, but I talked to him about it actually, and he's been working on a program through Dan Worthen that a lot of the pitchers work on with a weighted ball. He uses a 12-ounce ball and throws that from 30 feet. And that progressively moves back and lowers the ball a weight until he gets to 7 ounces from about 90 feet. And then he goes ahead and does regular long toss, which is usually about 120 feet. So he feels like his arm strength is getting better. I think it showed it. And I guess the question is, I wonder how long they'll stay with that play, especially at a close range like that.
It's a good question.
I would say they won't stay with it if he is able to throw all the way home. And it's a much better way to do it.
Murphy lifts one to left, and Willingham is there for the first out.
Another sawed-off left-hander on a pitch inside. This kid is throwing hard. He just beats Murphy up and in. Tough pitch to hit. You see Murphy already bringing that elbow in and inside outing. He's beat. You can see whenever the elbow comes this way, you bring it across your body. That's called the old classic inside out.
Beltran pulls one through the hole, a base hit. And Carlos Beltran with his first hit of the day, his 28th of the year. That leads the National League, and he now has a 9-game hitting streak.
Well, he came into this game hitting .415, and he has done something, Keith, that you talked about earlier before we went on the air. He has given up the swing for the home run for more of a line drive type swing because of the size of this ballpark. It's .415 and a shade toward right center, and that's a big ballpark, although it was 402 feet in Griffith Stadium back in the old days. And 402 feet to the foul pole in left field is a big left field.
I'm sorry, 402 down the line?
Right down the line.
That's a ridiculous.
It was, well, the pitcher, the owner of the ball club was Griffith, and he was a pitcher when he was in the major leagues. So there's a reason for that.
There's Delgado, who hit the triple to drive in the run in the first inning.
Well, that ballpark would contain Babe Ruth.
Well, that's longer than right field at the LA Coliseum.
That's right.
I mean, that was what, about 390?
It was about 390, right. And Duke Snyder wanted to quit.
Well, he didn't have big home run years playing there.
And of course, the left field was a real bandbox. And the outfielder Wally Moon would hit the moonshots and take advantage of the short left field in the Coliseum, which was a football field and not a baseball field.
1-2 to Delgado with Beltran aboard and 1 out. And Carlos swings and misses. Good slider by Zimmerman, and that's his second strikeout. With Jordan Zimmerman, very impressive.
Well, look at this. Backdoor slider, has the play. Took something off, got Carlos out in front. Well,
you can see why the Nationals are so high on this kid.
Oh, please.
22 years old. Just his second major league start. Beat the Braves his first time out and leading this afternoon. Now here's David Wright, who went down looking his first time.
I was going to say, Gary, the only wins the Nationals have are from 2 rookie pitchers.
Looking at his minor league numbers, Gary, only 2 years in the minors. His first year in the New York Penn League, in 53 innings, 71 strikeouts, and he split last year. A-ball and double-A. And he struck out 161 in 134 innings.
Well, he made one AAA start this year, and that's it. So
that is impressive.
There goes Beltran. Flores with the throw right on the money, and Beltran doesn't slide. How about that? I just can't for the life of me figure that out. That ends the inning as Beltran is gunned down after slowing up. Why? We go to the 4th, 4-1 Nationals. forward. Fourth inning, Justin Maxwell leads off against Oliver Perez, who's had another rough go of it this afternoon. Maxwell has walked and singled to center. He's stolen a base. Getting the start today with Elijah Dukes sitting on the bench. The slider misses away from Perez, 1-1.
Well, evidently Dukes was asked by the PR man after the game for the Nationals to go out and address the media, and he refused.
Popped up into shallow left, and Murphy calling.
You know, his batting stance brought about that fly ball to left field. He was wide open, as you saw. A stance that's very hard to get closed on, so your hips can then turn around and hit the ball hard to left field. And the fly ball for the quick out.
Well, so many more hitters today, Ralph, have an open stance. What was predominant in your time? Were they more closed, or were you closed?
It was very unusual for a batter to have an open stance like that. You know, why you have to do? What you have to do is you have to go in and turn back toward a closer type stance. And one player had one that was a great hitter, played for the Pittsburgh Pirates, Archie Vaughn. And he had 385 as a shortstop with that open stance. But very unusual. And one of the things about hitting, you got to use your belly button and get it away facing the pitcher.
Now Perez behind on Belliard, 3-0.
Well, the rule of thumb today is your dominant eye is, if you're left-handed, it's your right eye. And obviously vice versa. If it's your left eye and you're a right-hand hitter, then you can be closed because your dominant eye is faced closest to the pitcher. But if it's your other eye, your back eye, for a left-hander is left eye.
Belliard yanks one foul.
The theory is that by opening the hitters up, they get their face to face the pitcher more, so their dominant eye comes into play. 6 or 7 and a half dozen of the other. I never let doctors tell me how to hit.
Well,
not even an ophthalmologist.
A couple of doctors that played baseball that could tell you. Doc Crandall was one.
Bobby Brown.
Bobby Brown, yeah.
Hit to right field, and Ryan Church looking through the sun. That's the second out. Ralph, you talked about having your belly button.
Well, what you started out to say is normally you are squared away at the plate, and when you make your swing, your belly button has to go from the right side all the way around to facing the pitcher or center field, and that was the way Paul Winter taught people how to hit. You belly button the ball, and Paul Winter, of course, a Hall of Famer, one of the great hitters in the history of baseball.
So I guess if you're working with that open stance like Maxwell, you have to bring your belly button back before you can move it forward.
Bring it back, yeah, or you don't hit the ball with any power.
Ryan Zimmerman is 0 for 2, and he fouls it back 0-2.
My father's jargon, who taught me how to hit, he didn't use the belly button. He used, and there's the belly button right there. Just go watch it. So Ralph will watch it turn. That's my dad used to always say rotation of the hips.
Well, the same thing is
yes.
True. It's just another way of explaining how
yes.
you get your hips out of the way so your hands can come through and work.
Right.
If your hips don't get out of the way, you block off your hands. And your hands have to get out in front, or you pull the ball foul.
Perez ahead on Zimmerman, 1-2. In the air down the right field line, and will slice and go foul deep in the corner. Zimmerman running it out.
Well, we're gonna. There it is again. I'm gonna. You girls, don't get mad at me. That's the belly button. And now watch when he comes through. It completely faces the pitcher. If you don't do that, you're not going to hit. You're locking up, and you lose all your power. You also got to pivot your feet too, particularly your back foot, your front foot.
Well, your hips move around like that. It pulls your right foot back off the ground and gets you into a hitting position. You hit against the front leg, which is a straight hit leg in hitting.
There's that great photo of Joe DiMaggio on his follow-through swing, and he's really crushed one, and you see his front foot up in the air a little bit. It's one of the great shots of Joe with his swing that I've ever seen. It was taken from the third base dugout, so you got the view from his back.
2-2. Popped up foul. That'll go out of play.
Pretty good hitter right there a little bit, huh, Ralph?
Yeah, he only hit in 56 consecutive games, which is amazing to me, and I don't think it's ever going to be broken.
I think that's the one record it'll stand.
You know, as amazing as that number is, to me, the amazing thing about DiMaggio is the relationship of his home runs to his strikeouts.
Well, the year of 1941, when he hit in the 56 games, he struck out 13 times a whole season.
Wow. He had, 361 home runs and 369 strikeouts for his career.
Almost unbelievable.
And, there's hitters that have struck out like that, but they're like the Felix Mian, Nellie Fox type hitters.
Not home run hitters.
Right.
I mean, he was a home run hitter.
And Perez loses Zimmerman. He was ahead 0-2, and he ends up walking the number 3 hitter. So the Nationals, who put together a 2-out rally to score a couple of runs in the third, get a 2-out walk to Zimmerman here in the fourth. And things just continue to spiral downhill for Oliver Perez. Now, if you have any thoughts about watching Ollie, and here's a guy who just signed a big 3-year, $36 million contract, and it just seems as though he a guy who was up and down has now been mostly down.
Well, of course, the pitching coaches that have worked with him, both with Pittsburgh and with the Mets, have tried to do everything in the world to make him have good control. But basically, there's not much you can do if you can't make yourself look at the target and get the ball there. He's always been wild, and most left-handers are, in the early part of their career, are wild. He's not that old. He's been around, but he's still not that old. And when you see his arm, you see a good arm.
About to throw his 80th pitch, working in the fourth inning. Well, it's Ollie's 7th big league season. Oh, and 2 to Dunn. Popped it up into shallow left field. Now Church battling that sun. And uses the glove for shade and makes the play. So Perez gets through the fourth inning unscathed. Mets will have Wright leading off in the bottom of the fourth. All the wins for the Nats so far this year. But they might have another young pitcher on their horizon very soon as David Wright takes outside. The Nats have the #1 pick in the draft this June, and every year there's one player who seems to stand above the rest in terms of the consensus overall #1 pick, but maybe never more so than this year. Steven Strasburg from San Diego State, who throws 102 miles an hour, 6'4", perfectly polished young right-hander. The only drawback is it might cost the Nationals quite a hefty piece of change if they do indeed take Strasburg #1, but it's hard to see how they're going to pass him up.
I think one of the most important things is to have good pitching, and the Mets proved that over the years when they had Seaver, Kuzman, Ryan, and Gentry, and the others that they have had over the good years. The one thing there is that Strasburg certainly has good experience. His coach is Tony Gwynn. And Tony Gwynn, of course, a great baseball player and a great hitter. And he has seen him, and his input would be very important as to whether or not he's going to be the #1 choice.
Scott Boras is his agent, and Boras has floated this number. 6 years, $45 million, which would be by far the largest contract an amateur player has ever commanded.
He's smart having Scott Boras as his agent.
Right down swinging, so David has struck out for the second time today. Third strikeout for Zimmerman as Carlos Beltran and Jerry Emanuel perhaps talking about that
David Wright. And I don't think
slide on the stolen base.
I think they've been talking a little bit about. I've been noticing, Gary, that when David's up, they've been kind of conferring and trying to figure out what's happening with David. I'm sure Jerry mentioned something about the non-slide. And David, this is 22nd strikeout, and he is just not catching up to fastballs, is he, Ralph?
Well, he's missing it on the fastball behind it. And, of course, when you're missing the fastball, you have a tendency to start your swing earlier.
Church lifts one to right field. Kern's looking through the sunglasses, battling that sun, and stays with it. Well, I'll tell you what, any fly ball to right field in a day game, that's going to be an issue.
I'll tell you what, if you're day games in this new park and you're a visiting player, seriously consider not going out till 5 in the morning.
Do you think you can catch a fly ball in the sun better?
Come back with road maps on your eyes and try to catch the fly ball out there in a day game?
Well, I've heard of all the theories in the world, but I've never heard that before.
Here's Santos, and he fouls one back. Omir flied to center his first time up.
It's like, guys, you go. I'll see you tomorrow at the park. I got to play right field tomorrow.
What's that? Some sunlight peeking between the stands there?
I don't know what
is that a reflection?
Well, that last ball was a high fly ball to right field. I mean, really high. So
wow,
you got a chance to get the sun out of your vision because it was so high. It's those semi-high balls or balls that are hit with not too much height that are really difficult.
Santos lines one into left field. He's got a base hit. So Omir Santos continues to pick up his base hits. Now 5 for 15 as a Met. A 2-out single. Well, Ralph, other than shading your eyes with your glove, what's the best way to get that ball out of the sun?
Well, you have to. That's the only way you can. And you try to get your glove up there, as they both did, both right fielders, high in the air, and get the glove in front of the sun, so that you only have the glare around the sun to affect the picking the ball up.
Luis Castillo takes a strike.
There's also the eye black. You see, he's got the glasses on, and he's got the eye black. I believe. I never liked the eye black. I liked to put it on when I was young because
it looks cool.
You know, Willie Mays did it.
Does it make a difference?
I didn't like.
Well, it does save the glare out.
Yes, it's supposed to.
Yeah.
I didn't like it because I have high cheekbones, like my mother. And when I got up to the plate, I could see the black out of the corner of my eye, on my right eye, and I didn't do it. First time I did it, I just went right inside after that at bat and took it off. Never did it again. Very rarely.
One and two to Castillo, who had a comebacker his first time up. watches low. 2-2. Oliver Perez on deck. That's bullpen is quiet. So Ollie's going to stay in regardless of what happens here. Ooh, just missed. Flores had 1 foot in the dugout.
Wow.
3-2 to Castillo.
Change up. Good sink. Boy, this kid's got it all.
Good Flores. He's leaving. So Santos will be going 3-2 and 2 down. And Castillo slaps one to short. Gonzalez plays the hop and throws out Louis to end the inning. 1 hit and 1 left. Jordan Zimmerman rolling along with a 4-1 lead. Sultry Sunday afternoon. There's your McDonald's line store. Hey, you got your Jerry Manuel baseball card.
Thanks, man. That's really cool.
Jerry was a good football player.
From Sacramento. Said when he was playing high school football, Dusty Baker used to come and watch him play because Dusty was from Sacramento and was a few years older. Josh Willingham takes outside as Oliver Perez throws one to the backstop to start the 5th inning. Willingham has taken a call 3rd strike and been hit by a pitch. 0 for 1. That's got a 2-run homer from Jesus Flores in the 2nd, and then with 2 out and nobody on in the 3rd, Ollie hit a batter, walked a batter, and gave up a couple of run scoring hits.
You know, speaking of Dusty Baker, he was 1 of 4 on the Dodgers that have 30 or more home runs in the season. And Dusty got his the last day of the season, his 30th home run. That's never been topped or duplicated.
That was Reggie Smith, Ron Say, Steve Garvey, and Dusty, right here?
Dusty Baker, yeah.
Pretty good Dodger teams. That's when I came up.
And there was another team that had 3 40 home run hitters.
It was the Braves.
Line of Braves, yeah.
Lifted to left deep. Back goes Murphy right back at the wall, and he leaps to make the grab. Perfectly played by Daniel Murphy to retire Willingham 1 away.
Well, he used up the whole field right there.
He is being put to the test.
Yes.
Gosh almighty. That's like the ball will find you.
Well, this play was like the one he made in that first game that he played last year in Houston. Caught it right up against that scoreboard at Minute Maid Park.
And that was a near miss by Willingham. And the key to that, Ralph, was he got to the wall very quickly.
Austin Kearns takes ball 1.
He's learning a lot out there in left field, so
Well, he's young.
he's got a lot to learn, but he's learning a lot.
What do they call it? Baptism by fire?
Yes.
Hit to center field. Beltran chasing back near the wall, and it's out of here. Austin Kearns hits it over the center field fence. First one we've seen hit there. Wow. And now the Nationals have a 5-1 lead. Kearns' third home run of the year. So they're teeing off on Oliver Perez.
That is Kearns' fourth home run, career home run off of Ollie. And this, there's no doubt, right down the pipe. That's a 2-iron, Ralph.
Boy, that was a 2-iron shot.
Wow, that's impressive.
Well,
And that
people,
ball just came out of the stands. I guess it bounced from the black into the stands, and whoever got it threw it back.
people are asking, what was this park going to be like when it got warm in the summertime? We have a summer day today, and that ball is going out of here.
It's a third run that Kearns has scored in this game, too.
Well, Kearns hit the drive that Murphy fell down on for a double in the second, then a walk, and now a home run. And now Flores, who hit a 2-run homer back in the second. So it's 5-1 Washington. As Casey Fossum gets up again in the Mets bullpen. This one's punched in the air to shallow left. In comes Murphy. Another tough play, and he traps it. And Flores is aboard. Third hit of the game for Flores. Another nice effort by Murphy. And the fans give him a hand.
Now, this is real baptism right here. They found him all day long, and he made a good stop in that. Couldn't catch up to it, but he does make it into the glove on the short hop.
So that's progression. Yesterday when he dove for the ball the Dukes hit, it got by him. This time he made sure it didn't. So here's Alberto Gonzalez, who had an opposite field single. 5 runs and 8 hits now for the Nationals against Perez. And now you have to start asking the question. Jerry Manuel said after the last road trip that he'd watch one more time through the rotation before considering making changes. Well, clearly Ollie has made no progress here today, so you have to wonder whether Jerry will follow through in that regard, and if so, what does that mean?
I don't think you can make a decision on 4 starts, and it's not even out of the first month of the season.
Well, not with the veteran, and that's exactly what Ollie is. He's been around a long time. He started his career with the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Well, and especially a guy who you just signed to a 3-year, $36 million contract.
It has a lot of influence on decisions right there.
So, I mean, but if he continues to struggle like this, say it's not now, say it's another 2 or 3 starts like this, what do? You send him to the bullpen?
You have to do it sometime if you're trying to win the World Championship. One of the things that makes it tough is you've got a guy with some talent. But the problem is his control is not under control.
I think he's lost a little bit on his fastball this year, Ralph. Ollie has always been a guy with 93, 94, 95, and we're not getting him there on the gun. And I think that's the big difference.
Line the other way. Church toward the line. That'll fall for a hit, and Church can't cut it off. It goes to the corner. Flores to third. He'll be held up there by Pat Listach. Gonzalez into second with an opposite field double, and the Nats just keep on hitting. And Oliver Perez really hearing it now from the Citi Field crowd.
Well, a good play by Church to cut that ball off and keep the runner at third base.
And that's going to be it for Ollie. Here comes Jerry. And nice play by, you're absolutely right, Ralph. And one thing when Church is in there, boy, it really bolsters your defense out there when you got Beltran in center and Church in right.
With the pitcher due to lead off for the Mets in the bottom of the inning, Jerry Manuel will make a double switch. And Casey Fossum will come out of the Mets bullpen to replace Oliver Perez. This call to the bullpen is brought to you by Verizon. This is Fios. This is big. 5-1 Washington in the 5th. third innings, and that puts pressure on the bullpen. Casey Fossum will come on here to try and limit the damage. Second and third and one out. The pitcher Zimmerman at the plate, and he takes a big hack and misses. 0-1.
Well, Fossum was called up from Buffalo, where he was started 2 games. And of course, Nelson Figueroa was sent down.
Alex Cora comes in on the double switch. He'll bat 9th. Pitcher will bat 8th. Well, Figueroa initially opted for free agency, but then re-signed and was reported to Buffalo. 0-2 to Zimmerman, who's looking for his first big league hit and to play the infield in with 1 out.
Fossum's third appearance. He's come in every time with men in scoring position.
First 2 times with the bases loaded. First time in St. Louis he walked in a run. Second time he got Ryan Ludwig to pop up. 1-2 now to Jordan Zimmerman.
Looks like Zimmerman has an idea up the plate.
Well, he was a two-way player in college at Wisconsin Stevens Point. He was a hitter as well as a pitcher. Of course, that's Division III baseball, a little different from the big league. 1-2. Breaking ball struck him out, and so Fossum comes on and gets the pitcher Zimmerman to fan. Now the infield can back up with 2 out.
Nope, the breaking ball down. Couldn't hold up. You see that Fossum has a very sweeping curve. Not a hard thrower.
Yeah, one of the reasons why he's a pitcher is because he swung at that pitch. It was in the dirt.
They didn't throw that pitch in the Northwoods Conference in Division III. So here's Justin Maxwell, who's 1 for 2. A walk, a single, a stolen base. And he takes the breaking ball outside for ball 1. Maxwell, who went to the University of Maryland, he was going to go to Harvard until Maryland offered him a baseball scholarship. Slowly hit. In comes David Wright against Maxwell's speed. The throw pulls Delgado off and sails on by. 2 runs come home to score, and it's 7-1 Washington. Cora puts a tag on Maxwell just to make sure he didn't make a turn, but C.B. Buckner says he did not. It's an infield hit, a run batted in, then an error on Wright, allowing the second run to score.
Well, he's coming in charging hard. This is usually the play that Dave makes a good throw. But this throw is way up the line.
And it was also late. He would not have got him. I thought maybe he had a play at home plate. Let's see where he feels the ball. No, I don't think so.
Alberto Gonzalez hustling from second base and scoring.
So now Ronnie Belliard, 7-1 Washington. Belliard takes a strike. He's 1 for 3 on the day, singled back in the first inning. So all the runs are charged to Oliver Perez, 7 in all. At least 6 of them will be earned. Maxwell has already stolen a base today, is back to the bag. Casey Fossum, who spent last year with the Detroit Tigers, pitched in 31 games in relief for Detroit. There goes Maxwell. The pitch low, and Santos' throw a shade too late. And Maxwell has his second stolen base of the game.
A strong throw by Flores. He really put something on this throw. One of the problems Mets have is their catching, and Flores is doing a lot to make you think of it.
So Maxwell now at second with 2 down. 1-1 the count to Belliard. And that's hit up the middle, a base hit. Maxwell will score easily, and the Nationals pouring it on. It's 8-1 Washington. That run is charged to Fossum. It'll also make the 7th run against Oliver Perez an earned run.
So the book is closed on Ollie.
Slam shut.
Nope. That's a slider that just stays out over the middle. Flat slider up, hanging. And Belliard again continues. 2 hits today. He always does well in his hometown.
So it's now 8-1 Washington. Ryan Zimmerman, the 8th man up in the inning, and he drives one to right center field, cutting over Beltran and Church, and the land between for a base hit. Belliard will go to third, and Zimmerman aboard with his first hit of the afternoon. 3 straight 2-out hits against Casey Fossum.
And right there, almost a collision that would have been disastrous. Church and the center fielder Beltran almost run together.
And that gives Zimmerman a 15-game hitting streak. Oliver Perez's earned run average through his first 4 starts of the year is 9.31. Here's Adam Dunn, who's 0 for 3. Casey Fossum brought up to give the Mets a second left-hander in the bullpen. Now facing the left-hand hitter. I asked Jerry Manuel today, I said, don't you need to get him some work against lefties before the Mets play the Phillies, so you know whether you can have some confidence in him? He said, well, against the Nats and the Marlins, there aren't a whole lot of left-hand hitters, but he would hope to. Well, here he is facing Adam Dunn. Because when you face the Phillies and you've got Utley and Howard and Ibanez, you see the Phillies beating up on the rookie starter for the Marlins today.
That is the Phillies. If the Phillies hang on and win, it'll be their 9th win. It'll be their first win where they haven't come back. And
a liner caught by Cora to end the inning. 9 men came to bat for the Nationals, and 4 of them scored, knocking Perez out of the box. It's 8-1. In his second big league start, looking to go 2-0 in his career. Mets will have Alex Cora to lead off in the bottom of the 5th. It'll be Cora, then Reyes and Murphy as the Mets try and get something going against Zimmerman. The Mets got a run against him in the first inning. They've had base runners in every inning, but now trail 8-1. Cora got his first start in St. Louis on Thursday afternoon and was on base 4 times. A single, a double, and a couple of walks. Valuable backup infielder who spent the last 4 years in Boston.
Well, he's a consummate professional in every aspect of the game, on and off the field.
Run to Cora.
Very accessible in the clubhouse, to the media. He's a pro.
He's amazing. He once fouled off with the count 3-2 14 pitches, and then on the 15th pitch hit a home run.
Now that's a quality time at that.
That is one of the unusual records in baseball.
Who was the best you ever saw it fouling off?
I'd say Rusty Staub. I remember one time he fouled off a whole mess of pitches. I don't know how many, and then hit a home run, which is amazing.
And Cora works out a walk. So the Mets get the leadoff man on for the third time in 5 innings against Jordan Zimmerman.
Of course, there was a famous ball player named Luke Epling who was in the Hall of Fame. And that being a shortstop would foul off the ball over and over and over again to wear out the pitcher and do it on purpose. Play for the White Sox.
See, now, in those days, they didn't talk about pitch counts and running up the starter's pitch count. He'd be even more valuable today.
Oh, he'd be really important.
Might knock out a pitcher in the first or second inning. Grounded to the right side, past Belliard into right field, and Reyes has a base hit. And the Mets get something stirring. The first 2 men aboard in the 5th. Reyes extends his hitting streak to 12 straight games. Next Sunday on the Picks Game of the Week, the Mets head to Philly to take on the world champs. It's a battle of bitter rivals that Met fans have been waiting all winter long for. The debate of who's the team to beat moves between the baselines. Mets-Phillies next Sunday at 1:30 right here on Picks.
Well, the way the Met rotation turns around, Santana will miss the Phillies.
He's pitching Wednesday afternoon against the Marlins here. Right now, Oliver Perez is scheduled to open that series Friday night.
And of course, with the schedule being as it is, and this early in the year, you wouldn't keep him out to work him against the Phillies.
Actually, it should be Pelfrey to pitch Friday. Perez on Saturday. 2-0 now to Murphy. So Zimmerman, after walking Cora to lead off the inning, giving a base hit to Reyes, now behind 2-0, and the other Zimmerman, Ryan, will come to the mound to try and be of assistance. And the pitching coach, Randy St. Clair, will join the conversation.
Well, I just don't understand this pitch selection there. He's walked the leadoff hitter in Cora and given up a base hit, and he falls behind Murphy with a fastball, then throws a 1-0 changeup with a 7-run lead. There's the total pitches.
The Nationals today are trying to snap a 16-game road losing streak that dates back to last year. It's the longest road losing streak in the majors since 1985, when the Pirates lost 19 in a row. The Mets, though, trying to perpetuate that streak, but they've got a long uphill climb. Plenty of time to do it, though. Batting in the bottom of the 5th. Murphy is 0 for 2. He's grounded out and flied out. 2-0 the count to Daniel. And he punches one in the air, and behind the mound, Zimmerman grabs it for the first out. Boy, does he get inside on the lefties.
He's just eaten up young Murphy today, all up and in cheddar cheese, and here it comes.
Well, one of the things right here, Keith, is that he gets jammed in this pitch up by the trademark, and it's the first pitch that he has seen, and in normal circumstances, I would say you got to take that pitch and make him throw a strike.
I agree.
You cannot go up there and help the pitcher out by going after a pitch that's a perfectly tough pitch.
You're down 7 runs. He's walked the leadoff hitter. You got to take 2-0, especially if you're the 2 hitter. You wouldn't want your power guys to do it. I would never give you the 2-0 take.
No,
Ralph.
Well, I wouldn't have taken it anyway.
There's Beltran fouling one at the plate.
I said, what are you, out of your mind?
Beltran 1 for 2 today. Single to right his last time up. Then took off to steal second, and on a pitch that David Wright took, Beltran slowed up and went in standing up and got tagged out. Check swing foul ball.
Boy, he just barely stayed in that at bat. 2 straight wicked curveballs to get ahead, and up and in fastball.
Jordan Zimmerman has certainly displayed this afternoon that he has all the tools to be a big winner in this league.
Well, he should have broke north with the club, but you know how that goes. A rookie, don't want him to have arbitration in 2 years, so you call him up a week later.
Curveball in the dirt. Well, he's one of a number of talented young pitchers whom the Mets are going to be seeing a lot of over the next few years. You look at Atlanta with Jair Jurgens, who's only 23, and you look at that Florida staff led by Josh Johnson, all young and talented.
With the dearth of pitching in today's game, you just kind of hate this. You just kind of hope that those pitchers don't get hurt, don't hurt their arms.
1-2. Fastball struck him out. 95 miles an hour from Zimmerman to get Beltran for his 4th strikeout.
Well, this is overmatched right there. Outside corner, threw it by him.
When you play teams in your own division 18, 19 times a year, you're likely to face a young pitcher like this 4, 5, even 6 times in a season. There's your Earthlink high-speed pitcher.
Of course, I would take I'd take a new pitcher like that, way over the fact that they had Maddox and they had Glavine and they had Smoltz.
Delgado lifts one to left field, right near the line. Back goes Zimmerman, and it falls foul. Just barely missed, hitting the chalk. With Reyes running from first, that probably would have produced 2 runs.
Well, not a lot of foul territory down there, and that's foul by a foot. And with Kern and Zimmerman at the corner outfield positions for the Nationals, you don't have a lot of guys. Those 2 guys don't cover a lot of ground.
Willingham asking, should I play closer to the line?
No, he should stay right where he's at. Maxwell shifting over a little bit in center field, and Kern is well in the gap. You don't want to throw an off-speed pitch now.
0-1 to Delgado, and he throws the fastball up and away. 1-1.
They're playing the infield to pull, and the outfield straight away.
Yep. Belliard, the second baseman, well out into the outfield. He plays deep anyway. Delgado is driven in the only Met run today. Tripled off Maxwell's glove in center field back in the first. 1-1. Slider popped up. And Ryan Zimmerman there to make the play. And so Jordan Zimmerman gets himself out of 5th inning trouble. Well, Ralph Kiner, it's been a pleasure as always.
Well, I wish the results were a little bit better, but don't blame me.
Next time we'll get you flipped out sunglasses.
I hope so. Okay.
See you, Ralph.
All right.
Josh Willingham leads off the 6th inning against Casey Fossum and takes the big curveball outside. Willingham hit one to the left field fence that Daniel Murphy made a jumping catch on his last time up. After that, it all imploded on Oliver Perez. Perez then gave up a home run to Austin Kearns, a single to Jesus Flores, a double to Alberto Gonzalez before his day ended, and then Fossum came on and gave up 3 hits and 2/3 of an inning. 2-1 to Willingham, with Austin Kearns and Jesus Flores to follow in the 6th inning. Fossum really struggling with his command. It's 3-1. Casey Fossum, who first came up with the Red Sox in 2001, pitched for Arizona, 3 years in Tampa Bay, and then Detroit last year before bouncing to the Mets. And the fastball misses, ball 4, and he walks Willingham on 4 pitches to start the inning. So the 4th walk by Met pitchers today, and now Kearns, who hit one over the center field fences last time up for his 3rd home run of the season. He also hit a double that eluded Daniel Murphy, who fell down back in the 2nd. Kearns has also walked and scored 3 runs, and he fouls that one away, 0-1.
Well, that was Kearns' last at bat, and that's the first home run, Gary. You called it over the dead central. Over the 408 sign, and that was
a little bit to the left, and he might have plunked the apple.
I plucked the apple once with a home run,
but nobody's hit the new apple
no.
yet. There it is in its hiding place. Toward the hole, right over to cut it off, gets the out at second. Quick turn by Cora for the double play. Those were some fast hands by Alex Cora. 5-4-3 on the double play. 2 out and nobody on.
Well, you're right about that. Jams Kern, and he's busting down the line, but it's a nice one hopper for David. Beautiful feed. Watch the footwork. Boy, he got rid of that ball fast.
Well, barely hit his glove. So 2 out and nobody on. Now Jesus Flores has had a big day. 3 for 3, homer, 3 RBIs, and he takes ball 1. Flores now 5 for 7 in this series with 2 homers and 5 runs batted in.
Another wonderful crowd here at the ballpark. On a gorgeous day, people milling around out in center field.
It's amazing, no matter what the situation in the game, what time of the game, when you look out to center field of the concourse out there, they're packed. They're wall to walls. Flores walks on 4 pitches. So the 2nd walk of the inning given up by Fossum. I mean, it's like that virtually from 2 hours before the game until the game is over.
No wonder there's ADD. When I was a kid, I had to sit down and watch 9 innings. I had no desire to go anywhere unless I had to go to the restroom or the boys' room.
I never missed a pitch. I know that.
Yeah, I sat and watched.
Here's Alberto Gonzalez, and he pulls one foul. Well, I think you might be mistaking cause for effect. They build the ballpark like this because,
of course,
of ADD. Short
Very good,
span.
Very good.
I have to say this though: if the food had been this good in the ballpark when I was a kid, I might have missed a pitch.
Well, Mom was always relegated with that chore because Dad didn't want us to miss any at bats. Mom went for the hot dogs and the soda pop.
It was very nice of Mom.
Mom was great.
Gonzalez pops one straight up.
I got it!
Delgado calling. And that'll do it for the Nationals in the top of the 6th. 2 walks and 1 left. Mets will try and get their offense in gear as we go to the bottom of the 6th. David Wright to lead off. Down 8-1.
Hit that one. We've been watching this kid in between innings.
Got a nice stance. Who's Hot brought to you by Boston Market. Ryan Braun, red hot. Look at that. 13 for his last 19 for the Brewers, who've won 4 in a row going into today. Albert Pujols reached 1,000 RBIs yesterday with a grand slam. And Tim Lincecum, 25 strikeouts, 1 earned run in his last 2 starts, but only 1 win in those 2 starts. Here's David Wright, who struck out twice today, and Jordan Zimmerman misses high with a fastball. Pujols reached 1,000 RBIs yesterday in his 9th season. Carlos Beltran the other day reached 1,000 RBIs in his 11th season. Pujols became only the 3rd hitter to reach 1,000 RBIs by hitting a grand slam. Who, might you ask, are the other 2 players to reach 1,000 RBIs with a grand slam? The guy in the middle, Piazza, and another mustache on the right.
Oh, that's right.
Well,
oh, I forgot. That was the day after my divorce, too.
Is that right?
Yes. Marty
1,000
Noble.
RBIs and a divorce in the same day?
You asked Marty Noble, who was then the beat writer for the Daily News, or not the Daily News, Newsday. We were in Atlanta, and I told Marty after the game, maybe I should get divorced every day.
Wright strikes out for the 3rd time today. It's 5 for Jordan Zimmerman, and David has heard more boos on this homestand than his entire young career.
Well, David has never gone through a rough patch like this. He's slumped before, but this is really a tough time for him.
Did you call for tacos?
They're delicious. That's Floyd back there, and they are outstanding.
They're dealing those tacos at El Verano. It was very nice of Floyd to introduce himself to us the first day here. Ryan Church fouls it off. That way you know you're getting the freshest, hottest tacos.
I mean, Floyd is of Indian descent, and he said that coming over to America, he came over back, I think, in the 80s. He said that the closest thing to Indian food was Mexican food, so he got into Mexican food. And he makes a great taco.
Guys, I got the new treat out there, too. I think it's called elote. It's like corn on the cob with like some spices and Parmesan on it. Phenomenal.
Wow.
Yeah, I had it yesterday. I've been there, I think, 3 times already.
Let me ask you a question, Kevin. How much weight have you gained since Citi Field opened?
I'm running a lot more, Gary.
So you're staying even, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm trying to maintain. I'm eating a lot more, but I'm trying to work out more too. I don't know if it's working, but
stay off the basketball court. You know what happened last time?
Yeah, I had your injury.
You had the back problem for a week.
Kevin's tough. He's got a good shot. 3-1 the count to Church. And he fouls one away. Kevin, is there anything in this ballpark that you have not tried yet from a culinary standpoint?
I have not had Shake Shack yet. And I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to pick a game, guys, and do the Shake Shack experiment and just stand in line and see how it goes. You know?
Is that the most popular one out there?
I'd say so.
Okay.
It's the longest line, that's for sure.
It is the longest line.
Church hits one up the middle, and Ryan's got himself a 1-out hit.
You know
Another 2-strike hit for Church.
Sorry, Gary, I didn't mean to step on you.
That's okay.
You know what I have noticed, though, from the first homestand to this homestand, I think the lines have gotten quicker, at least out in that center field area, which is so popular. I went out there the last game of the homestand. It was pretty packed, and it seemed to move quicker just talking to people out there. So maybe that's happening a little bit. But I'll test it for sure. Maybe later in the homestand I'll stand in the Shake Shack. But I haven't gone there yet.
Well, we'll look forward to watching you in line. Manny Acta is going to take the baseball. Jordan Zimmerman, after 103 pitches, is done after 5 1/3 in his second big league start. And Mike Hinckley will come out of the Nationals bullpen. This call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon. This is Fios. This is big. Great job by Zimmerman in his second big league start.
We've talked a lot about the bullpens, of course. As you mentioned, the Padres had filed a complaint about the sight lines and things. So earlier today, I came out and checked out the sight lines myself. And, well, there's a couple of things. First of all, they removed one of the banners out here, so much easier for the pitchers to see through to the field. One of the advertisements now put on the left field wall. That's number one. And they've added some things. They now have two TVs, two huge flat screen TVs back here for the guys, so they can see the TV without a problem. And also, the Mets now have a bench in center field right next to the Geico sign, so the pitchers can sit up that. So the views are much less obstructed. The issue, I think, if you're the visiting pitcher, the bullpen for them, if they're sitting on the bench, they can see, but if they're warming up, they have no chance.
Double play ball down to third. Zimmerman to Belliard and on to first, and Santos is doubled up. So Mike Hinckley comes out of the bullpen, throws 2 pitches, and gets the 5-4-3 double play to end the inning. 6 in the books now on a Sunday afternoon at Citi Field. 8-1 Washington. Here at Citi Field, visit the official online shop of the Mets at Mets.com. Browse the largest selection of authentic team gear, including clubhouse caps and T-shirts, jerseys, collectibles, and more. Get your team gear straight from the source. Shop the Mets.com shop. That's high tech right there.
Good old American ingenuity.
The Visor Fan. I mean, it might have a cooler name than that, but that's what it is, right? Mike Hinckley, who came on to get that double play grounder to end the 6th inning, will stay on to bat as the Nationals come up against Casey Fossum in the 7th. Fossum beginning his 3rd inning of relief. It'll be Hinckley, then Justin Maxwell and Ronnie Belliard for the Nats, who are trying to avoid the sweep and are well on their way. There's a strike and it's 0-2. So Fossum being asked to soak up some innings here to take some pressure off a bullpen that has seen far too many days in which Mets starters have failed to go deep into games.
Well, I think Fossum's going to eat up a lot of innings right here.
The breaking ball misses 1-2, 2-2 to Hinckley. The Phillies lead the Marlins going to the 9th today, 13-1. Marlins pitchers have walked 11.
Ouch. The A-ball game?
Struck him out. Hinckley down. Second strikeout for Fossum. Let's check back in with Kevin.
Just wanted to finish my thought from my bullpen visit, guys. Like I said, they took down the banner, so it's especially easy for the Met pitchers. If you're a visiting pitcher, it's a little harder. You got the double fence thing. What is impossible is if you're a Nationals reliever warming up, you warm up behind the Mets bench, which is tarped. So you can't see at all what's going on. That's where the challenge is. I mean, there's a TV on the bench, so if you're on the bench, you could watch it. You're warming up, you just have no idea what's going on in the game. That's the one negative vantage point back here.
Let me ask you a question, Kevin. Obviously, they're not going to do it now, but from what's out there, could they elevate that back bullpen the way they do in Philadelphia so that they can get a little perspective there?
Yeah, I don't think they can, Gary, because the bridge up here the ceiling kind of comes down. I mean, they could maybe a little bit, but not to the effect of what they have it in Philly or even Anaheim, where I think it would make a difference.
Maxwell grounds out to Reyes for the second out.
Well, they can always put the bullpen over there in that Modell's area, and they wouldn't do that.
Don't think that's going to happen.
Good try, Keith.
Nice call.
So now Belliard, who's 2 for 4 on the day, he's driven in a run. I don't really have much design or architecture experience anyway, so I'll pass. In tight and off the glove of Santos, and it's 2-0 to Belliard. Well, the Met relievers have a fine view. They're in that front section there, and as Kevin mentioned, they've added a bench off to the left there right before the stands turn, so they can sit right at the front of the bullpen and see the game. 3-0 now to Belliard. So there's that bench right at the 4:15 mark, so the guys can sit there if they wish to.
And they got a TV back there. They can watch cartoons if they want.
Or you. You're probably watching your old highlight reels.
Oh, sure.
(3-1), and it's outside ball 4, so Belliard is on with a walk. The third given up by Fossum. You never did a baseball instructional video, did you?
No.
Because that's something they could watch down there. Get some pointers.
On first base? That's, I guess. I don't know.
Here's Zimmerman, who's 1 for 3 and a walk. Ryan Zimmerman with the base hit in the 5th inning now has a 15-game hitting streak rolling. And Fossum misses for ball 1. We were talking yesterday about Randy Johnson's return to Arizona as a member of the Giants. Let's see how that went. Got knocked out in the 4th inning. He walked 7.
Are you kidding?
Giants wound up winning that game, their 5th straight win. But not a good homecoming. It was almost reminiscent of the game that Pedro returned to Boston. Remember that?
Yes.
When he went back with the Mets in 2006?
Yep.
I think that there might have been some nerves involved.
Well, that Philly win today, it's not quite over. It's in the 9th, 13-1 Phils. You got to assume that they're going to win that one. That'll be their 9th win of the season and put them over 500, 9-8. 8 of their wins have been come from behinds. This is the first victory they've had where they've taken the lead. They are a feisty bunch. We know that.
2-2 to Zimmerman, and the breaking ball pulled down to third. Right goes the short way to get the final out of the inning. So Fossum has worked 2 2/3 in relief. 7th inning stretch time, 8-1 Nats. Quote board. Ralph Nader talking to the Washington Post, asking why they wouldn't cover his presidential campaign because he had no chance of winning. Says, then why are you covering the Nationals? It's kind of similar to the Julian Tavares quote after he signed with the Nats and explained that they were basically his last resort. Alex Cora up for the second time, takes a strike. So the Nats are getting a lot of negative things said about them, but they've got themselves a big lead today. And Cora takes a strike, and it's 0-2. Manny Acta, in his third year as the National skipper, former Mets third base coach. And certainly Manny has got to be concerned not only about the team's won-loss record, but the fact that this is a franchise that does not have a general manager right now. And at some point, whether it's going to be Mike Rizzo, who's the acting GM right now, or somebody else, there'll be somebody in a position to make some decisions. Take it inside 2-2. Because right now they're sort of in a state of limbo, which is where this franchise has seemingly been for a decade. 2-2. On the ground is shortstop. Right at Gonzalez. And the overhand toss gets Cora for the second out. So 2 out and nobody on.
It's always been a question of mine, and I've pondered over the years, why is it hard to sweep even when you're home, particularly when you're home, a series? And does the visiting team or the team that's got its back to the wall come with a little more grit, not wanting to be swept, and maybe unconsciously you've won, the team that's won the first 2 games, maybe there's a little unconscious let up, but it's hard to sweep no matter who you're playing, no matter how bad the team.
Reyes hits it the other way to right field. Plenty of room for Kearns. Sun doesn't seem to be a problem, and Kearns reels it in, and the Mets are down 1-2-3. 7 in the books now at Citi Field. 8-1 Nationals. And video alerts for your mobile phone. Text GET METS to 65246 to sign up now. Here's your Acura line score through 7. The Nats with 2 in the second, 2 in the third, 4 in the fifth to rout Oliver Perez, who was charged with 7 of those 8 runs. And after Casey Fossum went 2 2/3 in relief, Pedro Feliciano will make his 11th appearance in the first 18 games.
Well, that's why they made the move for Fossum to come up. That was Feliciano by the All-Star break. Well, I don't know what he'd be able to do with that left arm.
Nick Johnson up for the first time, took over for defense for Adam Dunn in the last inning. And Johnson puts a 9-game hitting streak on the line with this at bat. Nick hit a home run against Johan Santana in the first game of the series, and he drives this one to left field, and Murphy will have to play that on the hop. So Johnson, given one at bat, keeps the hitting streak alive 10 straight games.
Now that is just impressive hitting. Slider had the plate, and that's a ball you could have pulled, but Nick was just locked in to go into left field the opposite way. Beautiful hitting.
So he's aboard with a 13th Washington hit, and now Josh Willingham, who's been hit by a pitch and drawn a walk, also hit one to the left field fence on which Murphy made a nice jumping catch. But Willingham officially 0 for 2 today, 0 for 6 in this series, and hitting just 138 for the year. And he swings and foul tips one into Santos's mitt, 0-1. The story today for the Mets, though, the performance of Oliver Perez. 4 1/3 innings, 7 runs, 9 hits. And through the first 4 starts of the year, Perez's ERA is an unsightly 9.31. Fastball strike to Willingham, 0-2.
Well, the thing that's troublesome, and we said it all spring about Ollie, and you noticed the graphic we had up earlier when Ollie was still in the game. He was topped out at 88 miles an hour, and I think that is the problem. He's lost his fastball.
Well, we saw him at 90 today as it's grounded down to right. He has the ball roll around in his glove, and that cost him the chance for a double play. David just couldn't grab it cleanly, and so Willingham able to beat the relay. 1 out.
Well, he two-handed it. He just didn't get the good exchange. It's been a tough day for David. Been a tough month.
A tough day at the plate for sure. 3 strikeouts for the first time this season. He's never struck out 4 times in a game. He'll try to avoid that. Austin Kearns has a double and a home run today. Homered over the center field fence back in the 5th. He's 2 for 3 and scored 3 runs.
Well, worse things can happen to you than striking out 4 times, Garrett.
On a baseball field? 0-2 to Kearns. I mean, I know you say it's only a game.
No, I'm sure right now it's not very much fun for David. He's been struggling, but it's still got his average right around 300.
Saw Pelfrey and Maine together in the dugout.
Did you hear that sound? It was the follow through of Kearns just smoked Santos.
Right on the back of the helmet.
Jeez. They have to wear that stuff now today where the guys follow through.
Seems to happen far too often.
I don't remember it happening in my day. Hardly ever.
Not as much. We got so many guys with that long finish and release with one hand.
You blame it on Charlie Lau?
And by extension, Walt Riniak. Well, if there hadn't been Charlie Lau, there wouldn't have been George Brett.
Well, George always said that he incorporated some of the features of Charlie Lau's hitting philosophy. Not all of them. So it wasn't like George Brett was completely revamped by Charlie Lau. He liked a few things about it and incorporated it into his swing.
2-2, and Kearns can't hold up. Strike 3.
And I'll tell you another thing too. Ted Williams never had many nice things to say about Charlie Lau's philosophy. No, absolutely hated it.
So here is Flores, who's been on base 4 times in a row today. Home run, 2 singles, and a walk. He's driven in 3 runs. In fact, he drove in the first 3 Washington runs today, having a wonderful series against the team that let him get away. And he pulls it foul. It's a final in Florida. The Phillies finish off the sweep of the Marlins 13-2. So Florida, after starting at 11-1, will come in to Citi Field tomorrow night, having lost 6 games in a row.
You never like to face a team on a long losing streak because they're going to snap it sooner or later.
Jamie Moyer got his 3rd win today. Graham Taylor, in his major league debut, took the loss. He took Andrew Miller's spot in the rotation.
So it'll be Moyer and Perez on Saturday. And that'll be game of the world. It'll be on Fox.
Part of the world, anyway.
And it'll be our day off.
You have a day off?
So do you.
Yeah, I do.
Are you going to go to the game?
I might.
Or are you going to train home?
Still deciding.
My wife is trying to coax me into taking the train back and having dinner in the city and then pop back down for the Sunday day game. I'm resisting.
I actually have a summer camp reunion on Saturday.
Oh, really?
That I might be attending.
Summer camp reunion?
Well, I met my wife at summer camp, so I have some very fond memories. Here's the 2-1. This isn't its ball 3. A lot of old friends I haven't seen in a long time. So it's a balance. Do I go to the game or go to the reunion?
How old were you when you met your wife?
I was 14.
You started early.
She was younger.
I didn't like girls when I was 14.
3-1 the count to Flores. Well, you were consumed by baseball.
Yes, I was. When did I first start noticing women? Well, freshman year in high school.
And you made up the lost time.
No, not really. But I was just too involved in sports, But then freshman year was all downhill from that point on.
Willingham will run with 3-2 and 2 down. Someday maybe you can make us a list.
No.
Fouled away.
Not Wilt Chamberlain.
Well, I wasn't saying there were 20,000 names on the list.
I couldn't believe Wilt said that. It was just unbelievable.
Well, did you ever do the math? What that would mean?
I know. It just doesn't work out, correct?
Oh, it might, but you'd be awfully busy.
No time to score all those points.
Averaged 50 a game one year. 3-2. And Flores pops another one foul.
The Cubs finally getting ahead 6-2 in the Cardinals in the 4th.
Cards have been red hot, 13-5. 5 straight wins.
Don't you love that auxiliary scoreboard up there?
Very nice.
Oh gosh,
the base runners and the outs.
Yep, love it.
This will be the 8th pitch of the at bat to Jesus Flores, and he fouls off yet another. Pedro Feliciano, the workhorse of the Mets bullpen, 86 appearances last year, set a club record, and he's on a faster pace this year. Let's see, 11 of the first 18 games. He's on a pace for 99 appearances. Runner goes, and Flores goes down swinging, so Feliciano with back-to-back strikeouts to finish off the top of the 8th. Mets will have Murphy, Beltran, and Delgado coming up in the bottom of the 8th. Good news, get Hyundai Assurance and up to $5,000 cash back on select models now. Here's your Lexus out-of-town scoreboard. We've been mentioning the Phillies blowing out the Marlins. 11 walks by the Marlins pitching staff today, so the Florida's lost 6 in a row. The Reds leading the Braves 8-2 going to the ninth. Jay Bruce has a pair of home runs in that game for Cincinnati. Houston leading Milwaukee. Pudge Rodriguez with a home run. Brewers have won 4 in a row. And the Cubs trying to snap the Cardinals' 5-game winning streak, up 6-2 in the 4th. Later on, well, the Dodgers in Colorado underway, no score in the 3rd. Pittsburgh at San Diego, that's Jake Peavy for the Padres. Ross Ohlendorf, who pitched a great game his last time out for the Pirates. And the Giants and Diamondbacks, Matt Cain against John Garland in the desert. Garrett Mock takes over the pitching for the Nats as we go to the bottom of the 8th.
Mock was acquired by the Nationals back in 06 in exchange for Livan Hernandez. A hard thrower, big guy. How about the Pittsburgh Pirates pitching staff? Number 1 in the National League and almost an ERA below 3.
Well, they've got some guys who they've been waiting for who've really kicked it into gear. Carlos Beltran on deck. Zach Duke has pitched well. Paul Maholm has pitched well. Ohlendorf, the former Yankee, and Jeff Karstens, the other former Yankee. They've all pitched well. 3-0 to Murphy, who's 0 for 3 on the day. And he walks on 4 pitches. So Mott comes on and walks the first man to face him. And now the Mets will get the 3, 4, and 5 hitters up, trying to get something started.
Well, it's a big no-no right there with a 7-run lead. Carlos still over 400. You see 412 leading the National League in hitting.
Jordan Zimmerman went the first 5 1/3, allowed a run on 6 hits. Walked 2, struck out 5. Mike Hinckley pitched very well in relief, an inning and 2/3 without allowing a base runner. And now Mock in the 8th. Beltran 1 for 3, had a base hit back in the 3rd. Leading the National League in hitting, right now batting at .412, and he takes a strike. Brian Stokes up in the Mets bullpen.
Wondering,
the breaking ball misses from Mock, 1-1.
Stokes threw 2 innings yesterday, and you're wondering why he'd be up. Old Jerry Manuel said he's got a rubber arm. Never worries about wearing out Stokes. Oh, please.
Kip Wells, I think. Did you get the spies out there? See between the slats?
Put the searchlights on him.
Beltran grounds one to the right side. Belliard gets the force at second. The return by Gonzalez in time for the double play. 4-6-3, 2 out and nobody on.
Well, nice play by Belliard. Easy hop. Nice turn by Gonzalez. And close.
So just like that, 2 out and nobody on. Second double play in the last 3 innings turned by the Washington infield. And now Delgado, who tripled in the only Met run back in the first inning. Since then has struck out and fouled out. So just 4 hits in his last 29 at bats for Carlos as he swings and misses at the fastball. 94 from Mock. And Delgado takes low, 1-1. Tomorrow night, John Maine against Anibal Sanchez in the first game of the series with the Marlins here at Citi Field. Livan Hernandez against Ricky Nolasco on Tuesday. Johan Santana and Josh Johnson Wednesday afternoon in a rematch. 1-2 to Delgado. The first time around, Santana and Josh Johnson put on quite a show.
Airplane taking off.
Is that what that is? I thought it was you spinning in your chair.
It was a familiar sound.
late in the game. The score is lopsided, and Keith is spinning around in his chair.
Oh, just having a little fun.
It's good. You should keep yourself entertained. Oh, Delgado down swinging at the heat from Mock, and that'll do it for the Mets in the bottom of the 8th. We head for the 9th at Citi Field. 8-1 Nationals. Duncan. Brian Stokes on to pitch the 9th inning for New York.
Well, coming off a 2 innings work yesterday, 2 scoreless, and you see so far what's happening with him.
And you talk about the rubber arm, Keith. This is his 5th outing in the last 6 days.
I'm a bit surprised that he's brought into this game, particularly after the 2 innings yesterday. He had to work hard. He walked 2 guys and gave up 2 hits. He threw a lot of pitches.
Alberto Gonzalez chops one off the plate, a foul ball. 0-2. Gonzalez has had a good day at the plate, a single and a double. He's driven in a run. Alex Cintrone out on deck to bat for Garrett Mock. Behind him is Justin Maxwell. Stokes, the 4th Met pitcher of the afternoon, and it's bounced down to 3rd, right giving ground, so he has a long throw to make, and he gets it there on target to get Gonzalez for the first out. Something that we have not seen David do much lately. Back up on ground ball.
Well, that was a top spin ground ball, and he opted to play back for the long hop. Comes a point in that ground ball where you make up your mind either to rush it for the short hop, Gary, or you back off for the long hop. And of course, but Gonzalez doesn't run that well. David opted for the long hop, and again made a nice throw.
Alex Cintrone still looking for his first hit of the year. Swings through the fastball. And another one. And it's 0-2. What a difference in this Mets bullpen this year. Just to be able to go to Stokes and to Parnell and to Putz and to K-Rod and get mid-90s fastballs from all of them. The kind of power bullpen the Mets, I don't think, have ever had.
Well, that was the one adjustment they had to make. They had to make the improvements on the pen.
But I mean, not just in terms of it being better, but just stylistically. I mean, you think about some of the great relievers in Mets history, and they haven't necessarily been power pitchers. You know, John Franco certainly wasn't.
Well, one that comes to mind was Jeff Reardon.
Right, and Benitez. But even, you know, when the Mets had their run of going to the postseason late 99-2000, you had Turk Wendell, was a slider pitcher, and Dennis Cook, who, you know, mixed it up. And leading up to Benitez, you never had 3 or 4 power guys in a bullpen. As Cintron goes down swinging at the slider, and Stokes has the strikeout. Santos chases him and puts a tag on him for the second out. So 2 away, and Justin Maxwell coming up. You know, back in your day, I mean, Jesse didn't blow people away.
Well, Jesse used to, but he had lost a little bit. Jesse just was blessed with that great breaking ball, and Roger was a hard sinker ball pitcher. Roger McDowell, of course. Tug McGraw was never overpowering.
Screwball pitcher. I'll tell you a guy who pitched in some bad years for the Mets, who saved some games for them, who could throw hard, was Skip Lockwood.
Yes. He was older then too, and he was a starter in the American League. Wasn't he with Minnesota? Didn't he start up there?
Milwaukee, I think.
Yeah, Milwaukee, and he was a hard thrower back then. So
and he threw hard when he was with the Mets.
Straight as a string, but he threw hard and came right after you.
Called him Jaws. That was after the movie. Maxwell fouls it off.
Maxwell is a pretty impressive young man here. He's got 2 hits today. Here, go ahead.
Well, if you're looking for some good news, check out the Picks News at 10 every weeknight. Jim Watkins and Kaidi Tong get you caught up on the economy, world events, and local stories that affect your life. Plus, Mr. G's got your reliable 5-day forecast. Don't miss the news at 10 weeknights here on Picks. You kind of snuck that in on me.
That's okay. I wondered, Mr.
Didn't mean to interrupt you.
Mr. G, I used to always run into him in Central Park. He was a runner when I was running.
Does anybody know Mr. G's name anymore? I mean, did they ever call him by his name? I remember it because he used to use it. Reyes throws out Maxwell. Irv Tchaikovsky.
Seriously?
Mr. G. We go to the bottom of the 9th. 8-1 Nationals. Howdy, Truth in Engineering. By Dos Equis. Stay thirsty, my friends. Please enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. By Jeep. Employee Pricing Plus is in its final month at your Jeep dealer. Hurry, offer ends April 30th. By Verizon Fios. Over 100 HD channels and the fastest internet. This is Fios. This is big. And by Acura. Acura. Advance. That is a rally cap, but you have to be able to keep it on your head for it to be effective.
It's like a Joseph Stalin mustache.
Well, there are mustaches and there are mustaches, my friend. Kip Wells will come on to pitch the bottom of the 9th for the Nationals.
Kip Wells has thrown 1 appearance in this series in the first game. Gave up a run in 1 2/3, and here's David Wright with 3 strikeouts.
Trying to avoid the first golden sombrero of his major league career. And he takes the fastball inside for ball one. David has now struck out 23 times in 69 at bats. And some quick math will tell you that's once every third at bat. And that's a lot. And Wells falls behind him 2-0. Ryan Church and Omir Santos to follow in the bottom of the ninth. The Mets have managed just a run on 6 hits. They got their run back in the first inning. As you look at the strikeout numbers for David, far ahead of his previous pace. There's a strike, 2-1. Wells trying to finish it off for the rookie right-hander Jordan Zimmerman, who would go to 2-0 in his big league career. That's pretty heady stuff in your first 2 starts for a team that otherwise can't get out of its own way. Off the corner, and it's 3-1. In fact, the Nationals have gotten 3 wins this year. They've all come from rookie pitchers. It's the first time that's happened, that a team's gotten its first 3 wins of the year from rookie pitchers since the '68 Mets, when Jerry Koosman and Nolan Ryan combined for the first 3 Met wins.
How'd you know that?
I looked it up. David will not strike out this time, but he's thrown out by Belliard for the first out. Well, the folks at Elias Sports Bureau, of course. Don't forget, after the game today, if you flip it over to SNY, you'll see the Lincoln Mercury postgame show. So after every Mets game, whether it's on SNY, Picks, Fox, ESPN, there will be a postgame show on SNY after every game. Here's Ryan Church. 1 for 2, but hit by a pitch and singled to center his last time up. He has the last Met hit that came in the 6th inning. Church takes low and inside, 1-1. The Nationals have gotten hitless relief out of Mike Hinckley and Garrett Mock. And now Wells trying to finish the job. And slider in tight, 2-1. Hit to left field, and Willingham is there waiting for it. 2 out, and so the Mets are down to their final out of the afternoon, with Omir Santos coming up. Santos today 1 for 3, single back in the 4th inning, making his 4th start since being called up from Buffalo.
Well, he's been impressive with the bat so far, and with his defensive skills. He's got a very strong throwing arm.
Jerry Manuel said he likes the way Santos frames pitches, the way he's quiet behind the plate, not a lot of movement. He takes a strike. It's a few more days before they have to make a decision on whether to keep Santos around, because Brian Schneider is not due to come off the disabled list quite yet. Fastball call, strike, 0-2. What hurts Santos in that equation is that he does have options.
Player's bane.
You have options, you can get sent down and brought up as many times as the team wants over the course of the year. 0-2 to Santos, and the slider in there for a call, strike 3, and the ball game is over. Mets go down 1-2-3 in the 9th, and the Nationals overwhelm the Mets and Oliver Perez in the final game of the series after the Mets took the first 2.
Well, the alarming story is so much. The Mets weren't in this game. Oliver not having a good outing at all by any stretch of the